Dave, say and spell your name for me.
Okay, it's Dave Knechel, Knechel.
Dave, when that motion came out to disqualify Judge Stan Strickland, and it based this whole thing on you, and you talking to him talking to you, what were your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I didn't know anything about this. I mean, so the judge calls me up one day to say he likes my writing. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't mean anything. Okay, it doesn't mean that what the thing that really disturbed me the most, I think, about today was that I try and write from a middle kind of a ground. You know, I mean, I don't allow any Anthony bashing. You have no idea how many people take the other side and call me an Anthony lover because that's the way I am. I mean, I'm getting like a lot of comments right now that are putting me, you know, they want to see me in the ground, you know, which because I just ruined the case and Casey's going to walk out free, which is it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think that the defense really kind of like hornswaggled me today. I mean, an investigator came by last Sunday. He wanted to know about whether Casey could get a fair trial. Mm-hmm. I said yes. He wanted to know about Sergeant John Allen. How well do I know, you know, the police force? And I said, well, you know, I've talked to him. Mm-hmm. But then he asked me about Judge Strickland. He says, I see that you wrote that you were called up by the judge. I said, yeah. Well, then it came down to a look. If the judge can sit down and read a newspaper, if he could watch the news on TV, why can't he read a blog? And that's exactly what I told that guy. So,
and so their argument inside this motion is, but I guess he says like he said, he complimented you on your writing, which was an honor. The judges did this, but they said that he is not impartial, that there is some bias there.
See, I didn't see the motion, I didn't read it yet, mm-hmm. But I sure am when I get home. But no, I mean, the judge said I was very fair. Well, I think that the judge is in a position, more than a defense or a prosecution even, to sit there because they're going to take, you know, an attorney's an attorney, whether it's on one side or the other, and they're all going to have their own take on it. But the judge sits there and looks at it from both sides, and that's the way he read my blog.
I don't know if relationship is the right word in this case, because you only have maybe 2 cases where you talk to him, but how would you describe your relationship with the judge?
Well, he's married, you know, but no, I'm just kidding.
I was like, where's this going?
Yeah, no, I'm only kidding.
Let me ask,
I know you're going to edit that out.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, let me ask you again. So I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
Dave,
I kind of put you on the spot there.
Right? You can see my face. So, Dave, what is your relationship with the judge?
Well, it's just he admires my writing. I admire his stature as a judge. I think that he's a very fair judge. And I've been to 4 motions, and I listen to the man. Now, if I agree with what his decisions are, does that make me biased? You know, that's the thing that I think the defense is going towards, and I don't think that it has anything to do with it.
Some say it's political. The motion says it's political as well because you mentioned him several times. The number of times you mention him pick up in the blogs.
Well, yeah, sure. And I write about, I don't mention the prosecution. This isn't against the judge. This is a case of the state against Casey Anthony. Okay, what's the judge got to do with it? He's not going to decide the outcome of this case. It's going to be a jury. You know, and I don't have anything, you know, one way or the other. He's like an umpire at a baseball game. Okay, you got 2 teams. Mm-hmm. And he's calling the balls and strikes. Now, what do? If you're a manager of a baseball team, say, I don't like that fact that he called that a strike, I want a new umpire. You know, that's what it comes down to.
Did you think when he called you, you were in the hospital, he called you, got
No, he didn't call me at the hospital.
Okay, he called you
soon after, maybe a week later, I don't know, it wasn't.
Just that one call after your heart.
Yeah, right, you know, and he just called, he's a nice guy, he just called to wish me well. It was very simple. It was just a nice gesture on his part.
So, really, you've only had contact with him twice?
Yeah, basically, that's about it, yeah.
When he called you up to the bench, mm-hmm. and when he called you, just checking on you.
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, you can't even technically call him a friend, even.
Well, no, I mean, I'd like to call him my friend, but I mean, we're not... I just don't understand this motion at all. If I saw the motion in front of me, I could argue, you know, point by point. You know, I'm certainly not a friend of the defense. I'm not a friend of the state. I'm just a writer, you know?
What do you think this all comes down to?
personally, my own personal opinion. From studying the case, I think it's sounding now. This might be a reason why they'd want to file that motion. But now I'm beginning to think, I didn't think this before, but I think that they're getting desperate for motions. You know, if they want this judge to recuse himself, which to me, they're not going to get a fairer judge. I mean, I've studied this case. They're not going to get a better judge than him. And I mean, what would they expect? They're putting their hands in hot water. They don't know what the outcome's going to be. Who would the next judge be if he takes himself off this case? It could be like a hanging judge.
Yeah. Even with, and they include some titles from some of your blogs, where like Casey Anthony Must Die, things like that.
Well, you know what that was all about?
What was that all about?
That was really because that's what people were saying. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Just the title but you're middle of the road. Fair.
Yes, and I wanted to point out the absurdity of it. So I titled it "Casey Anthony Must Die" because so many people, without hearing all the evidence, she still got to go to trial. Okay, yeah. and you know, this is like it reminds me of a mob running up the hill with those torches to burn down the Frankenstein castle. You know, there's no trial, there's nothing, there's no bargaining. They don't want to listen to anything, and that's to me an injustice, and that's what I kind of preach about, that you can't do it that way. So I said that Casey Anthony must die,
as in that mob mentality.
Yeah.